to play a lot of minutes tonight, and a lot's going to be asked of her because Cincinnati plays a very direct vertical style, and that means a lot of traffic coming up through the middle right between Inakawa and Dorian.
And we'll watch for that in today's action. You see SMU in the pink uniforms. It's a pink out today as Cincinnati starts with it in the black and SMU in the bright pink uniforms. For the Bearcats, they started out conference play very well, unbeaten through their first few opportunities in conference play, their first 3 matches in conference. However, they lost their last time out, a 4-0 result at UCF, a rescheduled game because of the hurricane. As SMU's Jewel Boland takes it away, and it is kicked to the outside. This is going to be on Boland for a foul here, but still an early test for Cincinnati's back line as Boland got aggressive against Kendall Battle on the back end.
Yeah, Boland saw the ball and was sniffing the goal and simply was pushing a defender out of the way. You like the aggressiveness, but got to keep that arm down.
Correction, that was Ashley Barron along the center back there as Jewel Boland, who has scored twice this season, but not so far at home, gets the start at the striker position. Sapos wins one in the air really quickly. Good contingent of young fans here cheering on the SMU Mustangs, and that always brings great energy to these Sunday afternoon matchups. And Sapos, who has played 7 seasons at SMU, or been here for 7 years, has it go off of her and into touch.
Yeah, Sapos has been a fixture in this lineup for what seems like forever.
Here's that direct style, trying to aim at Vanessa DiNardo. But Tatum Sutherland comes out of the goal to pick it up. Cincinnati head coach Neil Stafford, 10th year as the Bearcats head coach, with an impressive record, 84 wins during that time. And he's also spent time at Assumption College as a head coach, along with Central Michigan as well. And he likes to play that direct style. Cincinnati is going to be a physical team as well today.
He does. The Bearcats will play direct balls like they did just a second ago to DiNardo, trying to flip the ball over the defense or through a couple of defenders. They'll do that all day long. And I suspect that they'll be even more aggressive with that simply because Inakawa has not had a lot of time. And they may try to take advantage of someone who's, obviously trained with her team all year, but she's still getting her feet wet as far as extensive in-game experience. If I'm the Bearcats, I would target and test number 3.
Anna Rexford, last time out for Cincinnati, uncharacteristically for her, gave up 4 goals. But when we talked to Neil Stafford about it, as this one is geared in the direction of Sutherland, when we talked to Coach Stafford about it, he didn't say it's one person's issue. He says we defend, we attack. As a team, we take responsibility as a team.
Right.
So it's not just on Rexford, it's on our entire team to make sure we don't give up 4 goals today.
Yeah, I mean, goalie's one of those positions, sort of like being a pitcher in baseball, where if you give up a lot of runs, chances are the defense behind you had some miscues as well. Goalies get credit for having shutouts, and deservedly so, and they get blame if they give up a lot of goals, and deservedly so, but some of that credit and blame goes to the team in front of them as well. And Coach Stafford rightly said that was an 11-player loss, not a 1-player loss. There's absolutely no way he was pinning that on Rexford because she's a terrific goalkeeper.
Cincinnati, for the most part this season, has been pretty good defensively as Rexford has started every match. And in fact, that match against UCF was the first time she had been lifted all season. Peyton Hasse, the backup, came in to play the final 16 minutes as a foul goes against SMU here. Vanessa DiNardo, 2 goals against SMU last season in the match at Cincinnati, which ended in a 3-3 draw between the 2 squads.
I think if you're SMU, maybe that whistle is a good thing, simply because Sammy Nieves barely touched the other player and got a whistle. And if referee Tori Panuso is going to call it that closely.
Oh, watch this one. It's off the crossbar. Header opportunity, and it is kicked out of trouble by SMU. Tatum Sutherland got a piece of it, Steve. And thankfully for the Mustangs, it goes off the crossbar, but a great early chance by Cincinnati. Lauren Bastian off the restart, and watch what happened.
You see Sutherland come off the line trying to punch it clear, and I think she hit the ball and the head of Paige Miller, so she wasn't able to punch it directly. Goalpost and crossbars are the goalkeeper's best friends, and Tatum Sutherland certainly got some help on that one.
Early chance for Cincinnati. Nearly a goal for Paige Miller off a beautiful feed by Baston. And now SMU on the counterattack. Julissa Cisneros up the side to Sammy Nieves with speed. Nieves, the crosser, Boland in the area, but in the 6. It's picked off by Anna Rexford.
Terrific cross by Nieves, and as you said, Boland was in a perfect spot by the back post, but Rexford came up and erased that chance. So it's so hard when you're coming down the sideline at speed to turn and get a full 90-degree serve into the middle. It's easy to get a little bit behind it and send it over the end line. But Nieves with a beautiful cross, and if she can do that all day, the Mustangs will have some chances.
Paige Miller defended well by Peyton Dorian, and Dorian's going to need to have a big match today. As we mentioned before, there is some shuffling along that back line as Brandy Thompson gets a chance at the corner of the 18. One-on-one against Dorian. Gets past Dorian, slides it toward the goal, and Thompson is denied by Sutherland.
Sutherland very sure on that one. The last thing you want to do is give up a rebound, especially there was quite a bit of rain in the area last night. So when we were walking on the field down before the game, it is a little bit slick in some spots, and obviously that can play games with the goalkeepers on both sides, as the ball could skip and rather than taking a true normal bounce that they've seen.
Beautiful 70 degrees at game time, though, and although there has been rain in the area and the humidity's at 90% here, doesn't look like we're going to see much rain for this match.
Don't jinx it.
Well, you know.
Fingers are crossed.
Fingers are crossed.
All right.
It looks as though, you know, whoever you want to talk about controlling the weather is a big soccer fan today. But as you were saying, this is pretty perfect soccer weather.
Yeah, I mean, remember the beginning of the year when games were 104 degrees at kickoff? And I mean, most of these players, certainly the SMU players, have played in games that were north of 100 degrees. And a lot of players, especially those living in Cincinnati, have probably played in games around freezing. Right in the middle, you'll take it every day.
No doubt about it. So these two teams coming in for SMU, not where they thought they would be in the table at this point in the season, especially after a wonderful start to the year. They had 7 straight matches where they picked up at least a win or a tie. Right now, SMU, with only 4 points in conference play at 1-3-1, they're next to last, only above Temple. And then right up above them, you've got Houston and Cincinnati with 5 points and identical records with a win and 2 ties. And so with that being the case, it becomes a huge opportunity for SMU as Kings slide this away. SMU really feels they have to have 3 points today.
Absolutely. I mean, you talked about it in the open. They're winless in the last 3 games. They've scored 1 goal in the last 3 games. And with Cincinnati being one of the teams that's just 1 point ahead of Houston, they have the opportunity to leapfrog over the Bearcats, and we don't know what Memphis and Houston are going to do. But this could be, for SMU, a good result would be really, really significant as far as postseason hopes.
An offside call against Cincinnati here. That is Daniel Radford, one of the assistant referees today, along with Emily Gomez. Tori Penso is our lead referee today. I'm John Little with Steve Lansdale. About 9 minutes in today. And the free kick by Tatum Sutherland, the athletic keeper for SMU. Mustangs, for the moment, able to win that first touch, but it's brought back by the Bearcats. Bearcats this season have been good defensively, as we said, only giving up a goals against average for Rexford this year at 1.1, and that even factors in giving up 4 goals against UCF. So they are tough to score against too.
They are, and that aggressive physical style certainly lends itself to strong defending, and the Bearcats have that. Plus, they're pretty strong in the air. You may see the Mustangs go even more to the approach of playing down the flanks on either side and sending crosses in the middle, but instead of sending a lot of high balls over the goal, maybe more line drives, trying to play the ball on the ground or get some ricochets off of defenders.
SMU very good defensively as well, with 9 goals against this season. A big part of that is that they love to have possession. And we talked about that before the game with head coach Nicole Nelson. She said in a lot of the different metrics, even though we're winless in our last 3, we're doing a good job. One place where we need to be better, we'd like to have more than 400 passes a game. We've been just under that in these last 3 matches. So watch for that for SMU as this is sent all the way across the box and a little bit strong. A good serve from the far side, and SMU able to survive it.
The Mustangs are a team that plays the style that Nicole Nelson and her staff teach, and that is a high possession, high passing game. Let the ball do a lot of the work and make opponents chase. And 400 seems to be that sort of magic number that the coaches feel is an indication of solid possession. And like you said, they haven't reached that the last couple of games. Got to improve it.
A takeaway by Cincinnati as Vivian Spalding, who started in the midfield, has it poked out by Boland, and the Bearcats will keep off the throw-in. SMU head coach Nicole Nelson went on to say that for Cincinnati, when they attack, they're going to do so very directly, and then they're also dangerous off of plays like this, restarts, throw-ins, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the Bearcats are strong, both physically strong, muscling people off the ball, and also strong in the air. And that makes them very dangerous on set pieces and throw-ins in the offensive third.
Cisneros trying to touch that up the field in the direction of Nieves, but playing it into touch. Bearcats another chance as Spalding has it played away, at least for the time being.
You talked about Coach Nelson's ideal number of 400 passes in a game, and obviously we've all seen enough soccer games where the statistics heavily favor one team, but the scoreboard ends up favoring the other. And we do have 78 minutes to go, but through 12 minutes, the vast majority has been played in the south end in front of the SMU defense. And if the Mustangs are going to get near that 400 number, they've got to get possession, start controlling the midfield. It is a difficult task against the Bearcats, though, because Cincinnati plays 5 across the midfield. It is crowded in the midfield, and there are not a lot of passing lanes. So the Mustangs have to be pretty judicious going back and forth, trying to open up that midfield, find passing lanes through, because they don't play over the top as much as Cincinnati does.
And for SMU, they're without a key defender, center back Peyton Annan, as you mentioned. She's missing from this game due to injury. Courtney Sabasco is out there for another start, the preseason all-conference player and a midfielder on the Herman Trophy watch list. However, she is not 100%. She's been battling illness. We'll see how much of a factor she is. As Spalding turns toward the 18. Spalding has it slid out from under her by Sophie King, who head coach Nicole Nelson says has been playing really well for SMU.
She has, and that play is an indication why not only is it she's fast, and it's a very technical move to slide and poke the ball away, but it's a gutsy move as well.
It is.
Because doing that in the box, all you need is one person with a whistle to think that you tripped somebody and you're staring at a penalty kick. Really nice play by King.
Bastion on the restart. It's a goal, a header for Cincinnati. It went right off the head of Emma Schmelzer. Her second goal this season. And Cincinnati goes up 1-0.
Beautiful serve on the corner. Not a lot of curl, just straight across the mouth of the goal, up and over Sutherland. And Schmelzer just camped out at the far right post. She had to hit that about 2 feet to get it in the goal, putting the Bearcats up.
A 14th minute goal by Emma Schmelzer, who also had the game-winning goal versus Temple earlier this season. And the sophomore out of Cincinnati puts the Bearcats on the board here in Dallas. John Little with Steve Lansdale. Great to have you with us as well. And it's exactly what the Bearcats wanted, an outstanding start in Dallas.
It really is. And we've talked about the Bearcats being strong in the air, and they are. But it's not like Cincinnati is one of these teams that rolls into town with a bunch of 6-footers.
Another great chance. Here's Thompson, forced wide. Dorian, really nice challenge.
That's 2 really nice tackles in the box, where the Mustangs, first King, then Dorian, got to the ball before getting to the player, and ended a chance before the Bearcats could really get a shot away.
But as you were saying, Cincinnati could not have asked for a better start. Controlling play on this end and then getting rewarded with a beautiful corner kick that results in a textbook header by Schmelzer.
But also a bit of a defensive breakdown for SMU. There has to be someone goal side of every offensive player, and Schmelzer was wide open in front of the far post.
Tatum Sutherland at 5'6", reached all she could to try to knock down that serve from Lauren Bastian, but just couldn't reach it. And that's where being without the 6-foot keeper, Sam Estrada, is tough for SMU. This might have been a game that Estrada started had she been fit.
That's true. That's true. Estrada is 6 inches taller than Sutherland, although Sutherland jumps really well. It's not like she's an undersized keeper who can't get off the ground. She can. She's got quickness and she jumps well. She's a fairly explosive player. But that ball, that corner just carried a little more. It looked more like a tee shot rather than somebody pulling out an iron and floating it up into the top of the box to drop down in front of the goal. That one just carried, and Schmelzer was the beneficiary.
It's been a really good series as there's a handball called against Cincinnati and a restart for SMU. It's been a good series over the years. SMU leads it 6-4-3, but they've been really good against Cincinnati at home, 4-1-1. However, finding themselves down as Sabasco serves it to the top of the 18. It gets through to the 6, and Nieves not able to turn on it before Rexford goes to gobble it up.
Mackenzie Rudden hit the deck on that. She got tangled up with Maddie Swingle, and Rudden was looking for a whistle. Did not get it.
Get a good look at it there. Rudden going to the deck. Nice play up the field by Rexford, but steered wide and toward the SMU bench.
DiNardo trying to keep the ball in bounds as she had Inakawa on her back, but got her feet tangled up, punched it over the touchline, giving SMU this throw.
For the SMU Mustangs, they only have 2 more matches left after this one. A week from today, they go to Tulsa, and they finish off with a Thursday night affair on the 27th, as this one is just out in front of Nieves. They finish up against Memphis at home on the 27th of October. And so SMU has a little work to do to make sure they're into the conference tournament, which is probably not something we would have predicted coming into the season.
No, I mean, a few weeks ago, the Mustangs were in the top 25 in the country. And as you mentioned, got off to a terrific start, undefeated through, was it 7 games? And a little bit unexpected to be in the position they're in now, but certainly capable of correcting that. But as you said, with only 2 games left, every point always counts. But when there's only 2 games left, this is a critical matchup as far as postseason hopes.
Still talking to Nicole Nelson before the match. There was no panic for her. As Sabasco picks Sapos on the restart. Here's King. Serve to the top. Cisneros tries to play it into Rudden. Cincinnati wanted a handball. No call. King, another drive. And it's poked out of play for the first corner of the afternoon for SMU as Ashley Barron couldn't hold it.
That may have been a reflection of a little bit of moisture on the ball as it hit Barron, and it sort of skipped off of her leg over the end line. But in any event, setting up a scoring chance for the Mustangs, and Cincinnati has packed 9 players just in the penalty box right around the 6-yard line and in.
Right to the middle, goes over the top. It's held in by SMU as Sapos is able to drive it back to Dermott, but initially a stand by Cincinnati off the corner kick. Rudden double teamed, chips it in toward Boland, but a good clearance by Ashley Barron as the Bearcats continue to play well defensively.
You see the corner kick here by Sabasco, and look at all those black jerseys in there. Absolutely crowded, and Anna Rexford did exactly what she needed to, climbing the ladder to go up over everybody and punching it clear for Cincinnati.
Trying to hit Dorian about 3 inches over her head. Under 26 to play in the first half. The goal by Cincinnati, a 13th minute offering off the head of Emma Schmelzer. Clean takeaway by Courtney Sabasco, and SMU is going to get it right back after Vanessa DiNardo claimed it. Here's Jewel Boland. Leads the team in shots this season, but only 2 goals. It seems as though the enthusiasm of this game has started to tick up, especially after the goal by Schmelzer. Both teams have woken up a little bit early Sunday afternoon.
I agree. It does feel like it's picked up, and you know, we talked about it in the open. Against a team like Cincinnati that plays an aggressive, direct style, the Mustangs have to match that intensity. You don't want to get pushed around, and you don't want to let Cincinnati start lobbing 30, 40-yard balls over the top, because then it's a track meet. And while the Mustangs certainly have some speed, if you offer a lot of chances against Tatum Sutherland, you know, she's a terrific keeper, but you want to minimize those as much as you can.
For SMU, it seems as though they're playing with fire a little bit, already down 1-0 in this one, having not been able to pick up more than a point in their last 3 matches. Loss last time out at UCF, 1-0, where SMU head coach Nicole Nelson said we didn't play bad, lost both center backs. That led basically directly to the only goal of the match. A tie at Houston back on the 6th of October, and Coach Nelson said, we played outstanding in that one. We just didn't get rewarded with the exact result we were hoping for. Hit a crossbar, hit a post, had a goal disallowed. And then before that, at home against South Florida, the 1-0 loss. And so that is how SMU has not been able to pick up a win in their last 3, and has them toward the bottom of the standings in the American Athletic Conference.
And that, again, is a reflection of soccer more than probably any other sport. You can dominate statistically or have an advantage statistically, and that doesn't always mean a win. Probably baseball would be the other. You could give up 1 hit and it's a 3-run homer, and then you go home disappointed. But the Mustangs have played well. They've had opportunities, and sometimes soccer is a cruel game. If you're on the other side, sometimes soccer is a beautiful game if you give up a lot of shots and don't give up any goals.
King, another serve. Cisneros couldn't play it cleanly. Slid out of trouble by Ashley Barron, the 5'11" center back for the Bearcats.
Nice job by Sabasco getting that foot out to knock it away, leaving it for King, who gives it right back.
You can sense, Steve, this crowd here in Dallas ready to explode. They're hoping for something to cheer about.
Sure, there's a nice turnout today.
It is. They know there are only a few more chances to catch the SMU Mustangs at home this season. It'll be senior day on Thursday the 27th against Memphis. King has some space near side. The serve across, Boland in the area, but it is played away from her by Anna Rexford.
Nice play by Rexford. We've talked a lot about how big and strong Jewel Boland is, and believe me, if you're a goalkeeper and number 11 is crashing the box like that, you are well aware of where she is. Rexford stayed focused on the ball, sidestepped Boland. Obviously, Boland, as the offensive player, has to avoid running over the goalkeeper, and she did. But I think this is the kind of game where someone like Boland, who can really power her way through other players, could be a key cog in what happens today.
Just eyeballing it. Nice play by Inakawa. As a foul is coming here, and maybe a little bit more than that on Vivian Spalding for this particular challenge. And Spalding wants to have a conversation. Take a look at it. Spalding, Cisneros.
Certainly a trip, and I don't know that Spalding wanted the conversation, but Tori Penzo, the referee, did. And nice job of her to get her message across without reaching for a card yet.
It's kind of like your kid. You know they're listening, they're just not acknowledging. Never happened to me.
Of course not.
Under 22 to play in the first half. The goal was by Emma Schmelzer, her second of the season. Assist by Lauren Bastian off a corner. SMU still looking for an outstanding chance. They've not had a shot on goal as of yet. Here's Spalding. Good play by King. Cisneros playing pitch and catch with King. King trying to spring her, but a little too strong for the speedy graduate transfer from Missouri.
And that difficulty of stringing together multiple passes is partly a reflection of, again, the pressure that Cincinnati applies in that midfield. But also, when you have young players taking on larger roles, Sophie King has been in and out of the lineup throughout the year this year. Inakawa, brand new to the lineup. The talent is there. It's just a matter of experience, getting used to playing with each other in in-game experience or in-game situations. Problem is, at the end of the year is a tough time to start gaining that experience.
No doubt about it. And you hope you have a chance for that experience to pay dividends down the line. But in order to do so, SMU in their last 3 matches has got to start getting some results. Jewel Boland, that big body is going to be called for the foul here. And I say big body, she's very strong. Ashley Barron, the bigger of the 2 players, but this foul going to go against Boland.
Yeah, and Boland, I think, is a little bit frustrated because she runs onto this pass, and you see the collision. She will tell you that that was a clean shoulder charge, and then she just sort of backed over the player and sat on her. But the whistle came with the assertion that elbow came up a little bit to lead that contact, and that's what drew the penalty.
Sammy Nieves hits Boland in the middle, tries to chip it ahead. SMU will have an opportunity to restart. Yeah, SMU started out the season, as you mentioned before, with those 7 straight matches in which they picked up at least a point. As both teams come with subs for the first time. SMU bringing Rudden out of the game. And for Cincinnati, Paige Miller at the forward spot is lifted. So the Mustangs bring Winnie Bellotta off the bench here. And also Alina Khan comes in for Jewel Boland with 19 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, the con for Boland's sub is always an interesting one because as much as it is a rested player coming in with fresh legs, it's also a very different look, a very different style. Khan is more of a shifty, change of direction kind of player as opposed to Boland, who takes a more direct approach, trying to power her way through the box. So it just gives the Cincinnati defense a little bit different look. But Winnie Bellotta also changes things. She is a very technically sound player who can fill really any role on the front 2 lines for the Mustangs if needed, and she can score as well. So you add another scoring threat, and again, just presenting a little bit different look.
Alyssa Cisneros, who leads the American with 6 goals but has not scored in quite a while, hasn't scored in her last 5. It's challenged here. Here comes Bellotta with the restart, but ball was never set.
Tori Benzo looked at Winnie Bellotta with her hands out like, what are you doing? We all know that rule.
Winnie Bellotta's played a lot of soccer.
A lot of soccer, and at a very high level.
Wanted to see if she could slip away with one, perhaps.
A little veteran gamesmanship of sorts.
Maybe.
So, to your point about Alyssa Cisneros, though, you lead the conference in scoring. Teams are going to start building their defense around controlling you, and that's what she's done. She came out, she went through such a hot stretch that you've got to think every other coach in the American Athletic Conference started making notes. Okay, number 12, keep an eye on number 12 everywhere.
Cincinnati has been very good defensively. What a great response after giving up 4 goals last time out against UCF. Inakawa chips it into space, and a foul on Cincinnati as Brandy Thompson got in the air, and the midfielder, the 5th-year player for Cincinnati, called for the foul.
Yeah, just ran right through Winnie Bellata, but nice to see that it wasn't perceived as an act of aggression. They shook hands, patted each other on the shoulder, and lived to fight another day.
Thompson's played a lot of high-level soccer herself, the 2018 Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Wisconsin. She played for Central High School in Brookfield. Bellata on the turf to get it to Sapos. SMU trying to charge ahead and come up with some kind of chance. They've had a few in the area, but no clean shots on goal as of yet.
And Bellata joining Sabasco and Sapos gives the Mustangs another veteran who's capable of maintaining possession in that offense, in that middle third.
Bellata, Khan on her left, can't cleanly play it to her. Again, the Cincinnati D is there to turn aside SMU, but a really good ball played by Sabasco in the area. But this one gets away. Sapos running after it in the area, and she is charged down with no call. A clean play, one-on-one, as again Ashley Barron as the center back is in there. And SMU's King will be called for the foul here after a controversial no call in the 18 the other way. Let's look at it.
Yeah, you see Katina Sapos, and she and Barron get their elbows locked up. And Sapos is a very gifted player, but gives away, what, 5 inches and 20 pounds or something to Barron. And if you get into a wrestling match, the laws of physics do kick in at some point. And you could have an argument that maybe Barron should have, or Sapos should have ended up with a penalty kick. But she didn't come up complaining about it. She never does.
Barron did seem to go after the ball, touch the ball with that slide tackle. Obviously in an awkward spot. And Barron, another gifted defensive play. SMU comes with a substitution themselves. Sammy Nieves is out, and on for the first time, Eliana Salama to play that right side forward position.
Barron is one of the Bearcats captains, and to me, she and Jewel Boland are maybe the most intriguing matchup in this game. They're both big, strong, fast, powerful players with a lot of technical skill. And that's not to say it's going to turn into a wrestling match, but when those two collide and go after the ball at 100 miles an hour, it'll be fun to watch.
Freshman Maddie Swingle ends up on the turf. Neil Stafford seen his team go 5-2-5 this season, but 0-2-3 on the road. They're still looking for their first road victory. And with under 14 to play in the first half, they've got the 1-0 lead.
Nice job by Dorian to get up and clear that out for SMU.
Cincinnati comes away with the 50-50. Here's Bastian. Tripped up, and a penalty kick for the Bearcats. And Cincinnati has a marvelous chance to go up 2-0. Wow.
Dorian got there just a step late. Ball was pushed past her as she slid in. And you see her arrive just a step late. The ball's beyond her. She clips Bastian's ankle. No choice for Penzo but to award the penalty kick.
Time to line one up for the Bearcats. Cincinnati trying to take a 2-goal lead. On the road, the crowd gets loud. It's a goal. The Bearcats' Maddie Thiss picks the left side. Her first goal of the season, the third of the senior's career. Bearcats up 2-0 in Dallas.
You feel for Peyton Dorian. She almost had no choice but to take down Bastian. But this puts SMU into an obvious hole with 13 minutes left in the first half. They've got to start, as we talked about before, they've got to start controlling some possession and stringing together passes and make the Bearcats chase them.
It's only the second time this season that SMU has given up 2 goals. The other time was at home against East Central, that stinging late match loss in the opener of the conference season for SMU. So the Mustangs just do not give up many goals, but a big one there.
Yeah, they've been stingy all year. The Mustang defense has been very tough to break. But as you said, some new faces in the back end. And the problem with playing on the back end, of course, is mistakes can end up on the scoreboard. So far, 2 of them have.
Sabasco with eyes on Dermott in some space. Dermott, the right-footed serve. Kahn is in the area, and that one goes over the end line off of Kahn.
Yeah, and I think the flag went up on the far side. They may award it as an offside, but
yeah,
it really doesn't matter because the offside flag where Kahn was and the front of the penalty area where a goal kick, exactly the same spot. So, all right, instead of 6 yards out, this will be taken by Rexford about 6.5 yards out.
Mentally, how tough do you think this is for an SMU team that was in good spirits coming into the match, despite the fact that they are down some players, they're suffering from injury, they're suffering from some unlucky results, and now down 2-0 to a conference rival? How difficult is this mentally for this?
It's a serious gut check because you're down a couple of goals at home in a game you desperately need, and the Mustangs don't have a shot yet. And obviously, without a shot, you're not going to get any goals. So they have to go to a cliche, dig deep and find some opportunities. Again, they have to control that transition through the middle third in order to build chances in the offensive end. And again, I don't know that going over the top is going to be very effective. The Bearcats have a couple of big defenders, and Rexford has shown she can get out. You know, she's almost 6 feet tall herself. She jumps well. She obviously can extend her arms and use her hands, unlike every other player down there. They may want to try passing through the defense rather than going over the top of it.
This one is headed toward the goal by the defender, Swingle. But thankfully for the Bearcats, Rexford is right in the middle of the frame to make the stab. Meanwhile, conversely, for Cincinnati, Steve, they came in. They had their gut check match, the 4-0 loss to UCF. And we talked at length with Coach Stafford before the match about the need for confidence. And, you know, they had that chance to look in the mirror, and he said it was a blessing, not a curse, to get a chance to kind of resurrect a result. He couldn't be happier with this start.
He has to be absolutely thrilled, and I don't know what his pregame speech was to his team, but I hope he wrote it down because the Bearcats very easily could have said, all right, we got beaten by 4 down in Orlando. Maybe this, you know, isn't our year, or, you know, they could have responded poorly. They've done anything but. The Bearcats have played very well through the first 35 minutes. Haven't given up a shot yet. Have a 2-goal lead on the road against a team that they desperately want to keep out of the tournament. Coach Stafford and his staff have to be absolutely thrilled by their team's performance.
Clean header by Barron to send away that Sabasco offering, but Eliana Salama has it back. Salama not able to hold it here, though. Peyton Dorian out near midfield for the Mustangs. It is a pink out game, breast cancer awareness game for the Mustangs. They'll be auctioning off these jerseys as Sabasco, offensively minded, drives it right into the gut of Ashley Barron. And you see how much SMU and the fans want a handball. And the Mustangs feel that they have been put on the back end of a poor call for the second or third.
Well, I think they wanted 2 calls there. I think they wanted a handball, and they also wanted a whistle against Schmelzer, who absolutely planted Sabasco.
This is loose, but Bellotta can't get there. Penalty kick for SMU, as Cincinnati had absolutely no choice. Brandy Thompson, the ball was gone as she knocked Bellotta to the ground.
And that's the call they wanted a moment ago, because Schmelzer absolutely ran over Sabasco a moment ago. Here you see the cross into the middle.
Wow. Nice
job by Rexford punching it clear, but she's looking the other way. She's not sure where the rebound is. And then, as you said, Bastian just trucked over Winnie Bellotta. And suffice to say, for a team that doesn't have a shot yet, this penalty kick is enormous for Winnie Bellotta and the Mustangs.
Winnie Bellotta looking for her first goal this season against the 5'11" Rexford to cut the lead in half. crowd is hushed here in Dallas. Bellotta scores it! And the SMU crowd is alive as Bellotta scores her first of her senior season.
Crowd is alive, and all of those pink jerseys on the bench usually stand up and give their teammate a high five after a goal. There's about 20 of them out onto the field to congratulate Winnie Bellotta. If you're everybody at this game who's wearing pink, or to follow normal school colors wearing blue and red, just let out a giant exhale because the Mustangs absolutely needed that. And Winnie Bellotta delivered for her team.
It's the 10th goal of Winnie Bellotta's career. And the senior out of Montreal scores her first of the season. Last year, you referred to it, she played the striker spot out of necessity for Chris Petroselli, had a 6-goal year. Here's Cincinnati, though, trying to strike right back. And this is offside on Cincinnati, or rather handball, excuse me. Handball on Cincinnati.
Yeah, that ball was played up into, I think it's Megan Smith who's checked in for the Bearcats. And all of the officials wearing pink jerseys around Smith were quick to help with that call. Also an interesting choice on the penalty kick for Bellotta to take it. Courtney Sabasco has taken a lot of the PKs this year, but Nicole Nelson thought it was a nice decision by her. Bellotta's the one who took the hit, who earned that penalty kick, and she earned the chance to get a goal as well.
You mentioned earlier how Katina Sapos never argues. She slammed her hands to the ground as that foul was called.
It's true, though. First of all, she's the daughter of a referee.
Right.
Her father has reffed in the North Texas area for ages. She knows the rule book as well as the coaches and referees, I assume, and she's just a very even keel, level-headed player. And if you get even that much of a response from Katina Sapos, I would go back and look at it again and see if I made the right call. I think she's earned that kind of respect.
Barron's restart. Oh, that's dangerous. Maybe a handball. No. They're going to play on. And a clearance for SMU.
And if you're the Bearcats, you're furious that the play was allowed to continue, because that ball clearly hit Abby Dermott's right hand. And not only that, Tatum Sutherland was about 20 yards out of the goal.
And SMU may have an odd man rush. Here's Kyle Lee on the wing. Lee cutting in, using her speed, stops on a dime. Finds Sabasco on the right foot, drifts it wide of the goal.
Sabasco, for a minute, I thought she was looking for Sammy Nieves coming in from the right side, but the way that ball curled and the way Nieves hit the brakes, I think Sabasco was aiming at that upper right corner. And she had some space over there, but didn't get enough spin on the ball. But she certainly had the right look.
Again, it took a while, Steve, for this game to kind of get going. Even after the Cincinnati goal, you know, it really seemed like things were a little bit dead. But since then, I mean, the last 30 minutes or 20 minutes of play, I'd say, have been just outstandingly competitive.
And you've seen that Winnie Bellotta's goal obviously changed the scoreboard, but it changed her team.
Yeah.
The Mustangs clearly have a little bit of a lift and a little boost of energy now that they're back in it.
6.5 to play in the opening half. Cincinnati's Kendall Battle ready to throw this one in. But SMU takes it back. Winnie Bellotta charging ahead toward Tabasco. It's just out in front of her, and Barron skips it into open turf. Just into the game, Brooke Brown. Taken away by Kyle Lee. This one is off of SMU.
And players from both sides lobbying for the call. Bearcats won that one.
You said that the Bellotta goal helped SMU here, kind of put a charge into their team. But SMU was starting to put a little bit more pressure on Cincinnati even before that goal. Is there any attacking difference you've seen from SMU?
Not a change in the shape or the lineup, just mixing and matching different combinations. We've seen Alina Khan come in. Excuse me. Alina Khan's come in. Kaya Lee has come in. Eliana Salama. And sometimes it's simply new faces that make an opposing team stop and think, okay, what does this player do well? What does that player do well? I mean, there's a reason that, you know, Jewel Boland and Cisneros and Nieves are the starting front line. They're terrific players and have been all year. But you bring in new faces and it's just a different look, and they each have a little bit different strengths and weaknesses, and but they're still playing the same sort of three across the top with Balata and Sabasco, and now Balata instead of Rudden in that offensive midfield position. The shape is the same. It's just a little bit different look. And fresh legs also.
4.5 to play in the opening half. John Little, Steve Lansdale. This competitive matchup that's so big to these two teams. Cincinnati trying to win their first road match of the season. SMU trying to pick up a win for the first time in several weeks. Tabasco's challenge. She takes it away. Referred to the crowd several times, but how much do you think a spirited crowd helps SMU as Sapos is taken down? And a free kick on the way, plus a card on Cincinnati. This physical Bearcat team is starting to assert themselves, and that also means that referee Tori Penso has to start pulling the cards out.
Right, and so that was Emma Schmelzer, who scored Cincinnati's first goal, who got a yellow card, and it'll be interesting to see if she changes her approach for the final 49 minutes of this game, knowing that she's carrying a card, and even if she doesn't commit an egregious foul going forward, all she has to do is do something that the officials perceive as an egregious foul, and she could end her day a little early. Some players, it doesn't affect at all. They continue to play exactly the same way. Others get more hesitant, and it'll be worth watching with Schmelzer.
Salama plays it out wide to Khan. Khan trying to stay on the ball, and as it poked into space. Again, Cincinnati, as you mentioned, Emma Schmelzer, the 13th minute goal to open up the scoring. A brilliant serve from the corner off the restart by Lauren Bastian. And then it was a Cincinnati penalty kick by Maddie Thist to make it 2-0. SMU got a Winnie Balata penalty kick, and a miscommunication here. The Bearcats take it away, and Virginia Goins is on the run. Goins, her drive too strong over Sutherland's goal.
Sophie King letting out a deep sigh of relief there as well, and not just because she got winded chasing Goins down the field, but that was her assignment on Goins. And I'm not saying it was a blown assignment, but as you said, it was just a miscommunication. She started heading upfield looking to run onto a pass. Ball was played behind her, and all of a sudden she had to catch up in a hurry. So to see Goins airmail one over the crossbar was certainly a relief to Sophie King.
SMU again playing without one of their best defensive players as Winnie Balata runs into the referee here. Tori Penso, I don't know how she didn't see her.
Well, I don't either, except she was looking backward toward the ball. And you've got enough things to worry about when you're playing against a strong defense like the Bearcats. But
I guess so.
If you're absorbing body checks from the officials, that makes it for a long afternoon.
Hey, credit Tori Penso. She is more solidly built than I knew.
Well, right, and she looked back, and we couldn't hear or read her lips from here, but based on the body language, gave some sort of a sorry about that. But the rule also is the referee is part of the field.
Sure.
So if you take a shot and it bounces off the referee into your own goal or into the goal, sorry, that's part of the game. The referee is part of the field, and looked like she and Balata had a little chuckle afterwards. So no harm, no foul.
Literally. 68-degree cloudy
like
day.
To see a whistle blown and called against the referee.
Exactly. Here in Dallas.
Look, we've already seen 2 PKs and a half.
Right.
And most games don't have a PK in 90 minutes. We've seen 2 in the first half. That's just one more unique thing that we would have to see.
How much more crazy will this one get? As we go on, 1.5 minutes left in the first half. Sabasco wanted to restart quickly with only about 90 seconds left in the half. And SMU down 2-1 maybe looking for that equalizer right before the half. Sabasco serves it to the middle, but there's nobody home, over the wrong shoulder, if you will, and over the end line, as she led Kyle Lee a little bit too much to the outside.
And Sophie King has made several runs into the offensive third in the last maybe 15 minutes. And I think that can be an addition to this offense, because Sophie King really has some good speed coming up the left side. And a lot of teams, you don't think about their defenders joining the offensive attack like that.
Randy Thompson out, Tori King on. Meanwhile, Kendall Green is on. Meanwhile, SMU head coach Nicole Nelson is going to get a yellow card as she continues to get a piece of her mind in with the referee, Tori Penso. We'll get a look at this. The first yellow card I'm aware of this season against Nicole Nelson, but evidently deserved, and then she decided she was going to continue to talk.
You see associate head coach Matt Cosgriff coming over and pulling Nicole Nelson aside. Nice move, smart move by the assistant to get in the way, because Coach Nelson, who, as you said, is generally a very even-keeled coach. We have not seen a lot of animated responses from her this year. After she got the yellow card and further pleaded her case, she then said something that made Tori Penso turn around again and come back. And Matt Cosgriff quickly stepped between the two of them and pulled his head coach aside and said, let me, get in the way and be a distraction here if need be. Smart move by Cosgriff, and I don't know what it was that set Coach Nelson off, but like you said, she doesn't react that way almost ever.
See how that fires up SMU just before the half. Abby Dermott into the attacking third. 15 seconds left in the half. Dermott slides it. Bellotta playing up front, trying to sell a call with 10 seconds left in the half. This is cleared into space, and we will end the first half at a 2-1 game. SMU looked like they were in a really bad spot before the penalty kick goal by Winnie Bellotta. Bellotta cutting the lead in half, but you got to credit Cincinnati. A great start in Dallas and a 2-1 lead at the break for the Bearcats. The Bearcats Mustangs cutting the lead in half with the big goal by Bellotta. Certainly gave this team a shot in the arm as we head into the second half. The SMU Mustangs pink match today. There's a jersey auction at smumustangs.com/sports/women's-soccer if you would like to bid on any of the jerseys, whether it be Mackenzie Rudden or anybody out there, Abby Dermott and the like. These very good-looking pink jerseys. The kits with the black sleeves and the black numbers as well for favorite SMU Mustang, if you are so inclined. And all the money raised goes toward breast cancer research and also relief for those experiencing that disease. 2-1, the advantage for Cincinnati as we head to the second half. SMU in the pink, Cincinnati in the black. I'm John Little alongside Steve Lansdale as SMU puts some pressure on. And really nice job by Cincinnati not to touch that one. Ends up in a goal kick for Anna Rexford.
Yeah, it was a little bit like boxing out, escorting the ball over the line and simply putting a body between Julissa Cisneros and the ball, setting up this goal kick.
Anna Rexford in the first half was able to come up with a save. And her counterpart on the other side, Tatum Sutherland, also had a save in that first half. Rexford coming in, having given up 13 goals on the season, but 4 of them were in the last match against UCF. Really good bounce back opportunity by Cincinnati. They've been on the road for a while, just playing Thursday in Orlando before coming here to Dallas.
And it's just shocking to see a number like 4 against a team like Cincinnati that has an outstanding keeper like Hannah Rexford, but also just a strong, physical, well-organized defense. UCF played awfully well, and you touched on it. That was a game that had been rescheduled because of the storm, Hurricane Ian, that hit Florida. A lot of events got rescheduled, and so the Bearcats ended up going to Orlando a couple of weeks after originally planned.
SMU reverses it back. Sapos finds King. Delivers it to Cisneros in the box, but That first touch, King trying to find it. Who's it off of? Yeah, this is going to be a corner. It does go off of Cincinnati. And a smart play there by King. And the Mustangs will have Courtney Sabasco to serve in a corner kick, their second of the afternoon.
Fortunate result for the Mustangs, as Cisneros had a little bit of a heavy first touch and lost it. And very grateful that the Bearcats gave it back in the form of a corner.
Basco playing through an illness today. She's gone all 45 in the first half to the top of the 6th. The header is off the crossbar. Cisneros, a secondary drive. It stays alive inside the box. SMU nearly tied it up. And they'll have a throw in after the nervous moments for the Bearcat keeper, Rexford.
I think that was Mackenzie Rudden who went up and got her head on the ball. And after we had talked in the first half about how big and sort of congested that Cincinnati defense is, and how maybe it would be good to play a lower ball and look for a deflection, she got up, got a head on it, and was inches away from tying this goal as it banged off the crossbar.
So SMU, even if you could say after playing poorly early on, or Cincinnati playing really well early on to make it 2-0, SMU just that close to making this one a brand new game with 41 minutes left, but they are denied. And it shows the spark that SMU received from Winnie Bellata's penalty kick.
Absolutely. And a lot of times teams sort of have to feel their way along in a game and let it settle and figure out what each other does. And it seemed like Cincinnati settled into its role more quickly than the Mustangs did in the first half. But as you said, that penalty kick for Bellata that cut the margin in half has given her team an enormous lift, and the Mustangs seem to have found another gear and are playing with a lot more energy and a lot more hustle, a lot more intensity. And it's, again, the first half was played in front of the south end of the field, or in front of the goal in the south end through the first 5 minutes. So was the second half.
Rudden takes down Nuncio and results in a restart. King trying to fend off Nuncio, and Sutherland able to send it into the distance. And Cisneros can't hold it.
That's where Sutherland is a weapon. You can play it back to her, and again, she's almost like another defender who can send long balls upfield, and she did. And that one sailed over the head of Maddie Thiss. And if it had been just a little bit more to the right, Julissa Cisneros would have had miles of open real estate that she could have taken to head toward the goal, but it just crept over the touchline.
Chance for Spalding here. King can't stop her run. Spalding, and it's just off the head, a little bit wide for Lauren Bastian. Nuncio trying to keep it. She does a great job of fending off two pink-shirted defenders, but Sabasco is going to come up with a takeaway, at least for a moment. Bearcat Schmelzer, who has the initial goal in this one, plays it off the shoulder of Dorian. No handball. Playing on is Spalding against King is the matchup once more. Rudden there, King there. SMU can't quite clear it. Here's Bastian. Cincinnati getting fortunate. Ball bouncing their way. And a great chance here, but Sutherland sprints after it to prevent an opportunity for Brandy Thompson in the box.
We talked in the open about how quick Sutherland is coming off her line. If she doesn't have that quickness, Cincinnati is staring at a one-on-one from point-blank range, and we might very well be looking at a 3-1 margin.
The wind kicking up here in Dallas a bit. It's been just between 5 and 10 miles an hour. This is closer to 10 as it's triggering in from the far side to the near, or left to right, as Sutherland looks at it and plays it all the way across midfield.
Some coaches lose a lot of sleep when their goalkeeper comes out above the 18. Not the case with Tatum Sutherland. She's very comfortable playing the ball with her feet, even if it's outside the box.
Jewel Boland had eyes on Sammy Nieves, but just too strong there by Boland after she had received the pass from Sutherland. Mustangs look for the game-tying goal. 37 and change left in the second half. Great start for Cincinnati today with the header by Schmelzer, and then the penalty kick by Maddie Thiss. SMU cut it down to a 1-goal game. Winnie Bellata's first of the season, and that's where we are. And such an important match. Again, SMU in conference play has only been able to pick up 4 points so far, a 1-1-2 mark, and they are winless in their last few matches. Long drive toward the top of the box. It's played down. Rudden takes it away. Meanwhile, Cincinnati has 3 ties to their credit this season, and they're just a point ahead of SMU. 1 and 5 ties for the season. 1-1-2 for Cincinnati coming in conference play, and SMU now at 1-3-1. And 3 matches, including today, left to try to gather points. Rudden sends it toward the goal, and near post, Rexford steadily brings it in.
Yeah, Rudden got behind the defense but wasn't able to get very much on that, and given another chance, I think she would have wanted to pull it back further toward the middle of the box where Jewel Boland was standing, or maybe to the far side to Julissa Cisneros, but she really didn't get all of it, and that just rolled right into Rexford's feet.
Nieves takes one away and finds Jewel Boland. Tried to flick it to herself around the bigger Barron, and Barron plays it into touch. SMU's Dermott throws it in.
And that's the matchup that I mentioned in the first half. Barron and Boland, both such physically gifted athletes, big, strong, fast. Little bit of a chess game within the overall match.
Dorian goes wide out to Mayo Inakawa, who started at center back for the first time this season. An injury to SMU's Peyton Annan has meant that Inakawa, who's listed as a forward on this team, pressed into service at the defensive spot for Cincinnati. Takedown of Cisneros, and for the Bearcats, it's a foul on Maddie Thiss.
Yeah, that one was kind of hard to avoid. She got both arms extended right into the back and managed to do it right in front of the referee. If you're going to commit that kind of an infraction, try to hide a little better than that.
Nieves with speed through the middle. King wants it on the ground. Left-footed serve toward Boland. Boland trying to hold it in, a lot of contact, and Barron goes down in a heap as Boland continues to talk with Tori Penso about it. Let's see.
Boland is furious. She's suggesting that the ball hit Barron last, and by the way, she's right.
Yeah, it did.
But
and
there was also a heavyweight wrestling match there, and Boland threw Barron. I don't know if she threw her so much as Barron's momentum carried her forward. Boland was able to regain her footing and stay upright. Barron was not. And if you are Coach Stafford or any of the Bearcats, this is a very concerning sight to see your captain, starting defender, getting up very slowly.
Part of the reason I would think that they play that 3-5-2 shape is the fact that Ashley Barron can make up for a lot of ills by herself.
Yes,
as the sole center back.
She can. I mean, we can talk about her size and speed and all that, and that's important. But she's also a very, very capable defender who's often tracks the opponent's leading striker, leading offensive threat, and is able to nullify some very talented players. So Neil Stafford, I expect, also letting out a deep sigh of relief seeing 22 up on her feet and not coming off the field.
One of the most important players for the Bearcats, there is no doubt about it, the senior from Toledo out of Notre Dame Academy. Started all 13 matches this season for Cincinnati. Bearcats coming in 5-2-5. That is also Anna Rexford's record this season as she started every match. Oh, really nice header by Sapos. And once more, Ashley Barron is there to be able to mark Jewel Boland. But good takeaway by Sapos.
I think it's a pretty safe guess that that's not the last time we'll see those two chasing the same ball.
be a lot of that down the stretch here as Rudden takes it away. SMU hunting the game-tying goal after getting down 2-0 in this one. They've had some chances in the second half. Cisneros running after it, not able to keep it in play.
And not able to jump over the ball and get out of bounds and let it roll to touch either. So Cincinnati ends up with the throw-in for Thies.
For Cincinnati, they have 3 matches left in the conference season after today, as Rudden has it taken away by Lauren Bastian. Bastian with the run. 3-on-3. Bastian. Eyes on the goal and over the crossbar and inside of the near post as well. For Cincinnati, it's Houston at home, South Florida at home, and then at East Carolina. Tough schedule to wrap up the regular season for Cincinnati.
Bastian, I think, was trying to catch Tatum Sutherland asleep at the wheel there. Tatum Sutherland, again, 5'6", as opposed to Sam Estrada, who's not playing today, who's 6 feet tall. And Sutherland had come off her line a little bit. It looked like Bastian was trying to pull out a pitching wedge and just float a soft shot over her.
Sabasco, a really good play out to Nieves. She's one-on-one with Battle and trying to feed Boland. Boland falls down right as she crosses into the box.
Boland looked a little frustrated, like she and Nieves just weren't quite on the same page. Maybe she was looking for a pass at the top of the 18 because she hit the brakes just as Nieves sent it in. And you could see Boland just sort of crouch down. That was an opportunity maybe that got away.
Yeah, SMU a little counterattack. They're able to get out of their own end with a sharp pass by Courtney Sabasco, and it worked out well. Long pass up to Rudden, but Schmelzer is able to defend her well. Rudden still chipping after it, though, keeps it alive. Schmelzer, 5'7" sophomore, is able to rally and take it ahead. Cincinnati has been right around 500 each of the last 4 seasons. You go back to 2018, 6-9-3, 7-9-3 in 19. In 2020, 5-5-1. Last year, there were 7-7-3. And here this season, 5-2-5. This is the best season in recent memory for Neil Stafford's squad. Now they're trying to put it all together to come up with some big results late in the conference season. Earn a good seed for the AAC tournament. See if they can get hot at the right time and punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament as well.
And when you talk about them being around 500, obviously they have 3 more wins than they do losses, but the Bearcats have an unusually high number of ties this year, 5. And we talked to Coach Stafford before the game. Sometimes coaches will say, yeah, we've got a bunch of ties, but...
Boland, Rudden, left-footed shot over the top. And Rudden can't believe she skied that one.
She wants it back because Rexford was in no man's land. She started out and then she stopped. There was space on either side. Rudden would love to have that back.
Nice job by Boland to find Rudden, who was unmarked.
Yeah, she just got under it. It's so easy to do, right? I mean, you get the ball. She was, what, 18, 19 yards out, certainly well within her shooting range. And she knew there was an opportunity there. And sometimes you get even a little bit excited. And if you hit it just a tiny bit too low, it'll go into orbit.
Couple chances here, both of them by Rudden in the second half for the game-tying goal. She also, it seemed, had the header that went off the crossbar. And a run for Bastian. Stopping it against Nieves. Now running after the goal line. The cross, and Winnie Bellata, who just came in, chips it away. Peyton Dorian plays it out of trouble. SMU got down 2-0, and now they're looking for the equalizer. Bellata had the opening goal in this one, a penalty kick. Bellata gets a lot of attention. 2 players coming after her. Plays it wide to Sabasco, one of the greatest servers in the conference. Sabasco with some space. Sapos, Sabasco, and back to Sapos again. Bellata posting up, tripped up with no call.
Several of the players on the SMU bench, none too thrilled with the non-call, but I thought it was interesting that assistant coach Emma Wright-Cates quickly muffled some of the protests on the sideline.
Remember, a yellow card late in the first half on SMU head coach Nicole Nelson, as SMU makes a sub to get Tori Peterson in the game for the first time in a while. She has started 9 of the 13 matches this season, coming off the bench here. Nice throw into Alyssa Cisneros. And Sabasco ends up going through players, serves it across. Cisneros is there, going back post, and it's wide for Alyssa Cisneros by 6 inches.
Probably a more difficult shot than it looks because she was running onto it, and the way her feet were, based on her footwork, she had to hit that with her right foot. But you want that ball to curl left to right, so she had to try to outside in that ball off the outside of her foot. Very difficult shot to hit on the one-timer. But if she did, Rexford would not have had a prayer. There was about 10 feet of open space on the left side of the goal, and Alyssa Cisneros gave it a ride, just not quite on target.
Possible handball, not called. Under 28 to play. John Little, Steve Lansdale with you in Dallas. Nice drive by Sutherland, and a chance for Boland to run after this one. It's played away, at least for the moment. Nieves finds Cisneros in the backside. She can't hold it.
That's twice in 2 minutes where she was running as fast as she could, and you have to time your footwork in order to get one leg up and settle the ball, and she simply had the wrong foot up and the other one down, and it got out in front of her even though she wasn't far from it. A little bit unlucky twice in a row for Cisneros.
Cisneros, who has been lucky at times this season, not in a bad way. 6 goals, has had some doorstep opportunities as Nieves plays this one in the air in the direction of Cisneros. Barron after it, and a chance to throw in for SMU. It'll be Tori Peterson coming to take it. But there is consistent pressure in the second half for SMU as they move toward this southern goal.
It's a totally different game in the second half. In the first half, I mean, both halves have been spent largely in front of the goal on the south end of the field. SMU far more connecting passes through the midfield and therefore into the offensive third.
Bellata's header gobbled up by Anna Rexford. For SMU, they're now at 7 shots, 2 of them on goal. Cincinnati 8 shots, 3 on goal as we play with 26 minutes left in regulation. The Bearcats hanging on to this 2-1 lead in Dallas. A lot of the 50-50 balls have been won by SMU. Jewel Boland motoring after this one, but Barron, good slide tackle to reach it first.
Nice play by Barron. And again, Barron, 5'11", one of the taller players on the field, used every inch of her frame to slide out and get to the ball in front of Boland. That's been a terrific matchup between those two.
SMU makes a sub up front. Alyssa Cisneros, who's done a lot of running work, comes out, and Kyle Lee is on. Nieves back to Tori Peterson. Peterson drives in with the right foot. The header is out, but SMU has a player there in King to drive it back in. Bearcats able to play it out of trouble as King wins the race to eliminate an opportunity for a rush up the field.
And that's Goins, who got taken down on the far side. King and Goins has been another nice matchup, and Goins was upset that she didn't get a whistle, but there was no whistle deserved there. That's twice now that King has made really nice slide tackles where she was able to close the ground on one of the Bearcats from behind. She's got good speed. She was able to close that gap, slide, get the ball out of bounds. No whistle either time.
Kendall Battle out for Cincinnati, by the way. So SMU wins another one. A chance to drive up the field once more. Yeah, another good play by Sophie King. And talked to Nicole Nelson about King before the match and said, who has to be good in this game against a physical team? And she brought up Sophie King. And the thing she said is King is small, only 5'3", but what she said is she's got some bite.
Yeah, she plays bigger than she is, and that's honestly, that's a cliche that sometimes gets misused, but I think in her case it's true.
Nieves drives it off the blue shed. Just too strong for the right foot of Sammy Nieves, the sophomore out of Las Vegas.
And if you recall also, at the beginning of the year, King was starting at that left outside back from day one as a freshman.
Yeah.
And then she needed to make some adjustments, and Tori Peterson came in and took her spot for a little while. But King has come back and really played very, very well. I think she's going to be a very solid piece for another 3 years here in Dallas.
Can Cincinnati do enough to hold the lead in Dallas? Looking for only their second win ever against SMU on the road. And also trying to pick up their first win of the year. They're 0-2-3 on the road coming in. Quick restart for Bellotta. Second time she's been whistled for being too aggressive.
She's laughing.
Restart.
Yeah, it's the second time she tried to restart before the ball was set.
SMU at home this season is 5-2. However, recently, the results at home have not been to their liking, losing 2 of their last 3, including a home match against South Florida.
To take the point about Sophie King a step further, you look at some of these young defenders, Sophie King, Tori Peterson, Peyton Annan, who's not playing today, but all have been very valuable pieces in this back end. All 3 are freshmen.
Yeah.
So wait until they grow into their roles and get more experience and get stronger and get more accustomed to the systems they're playing. This could end up being a pretty stout defense for SMU in the years ahead.
Absolutely.
And by the way, Peyton Dorian's not done yet either. She's a junior.
There's no doubt this could be a very strong defensive team next season as Tori Peterson angles in the right-footed serve. Boland tried to redirect, and the header is wide.
That's such a difficult play to make. If you're the striker and one of your teammates and you have your back to the goal and one of your teammates basically takes a shot right at you, you want to redirect it, but obviously you want to just graze the ball so it changes direction enough to confuse the goalkeeper without heading over the end line. Jewel Boland was wearing a defender on her back who may have given her a little bit of a extra elbow or encouragement to bump that ball wide.
Yeah, there's just no good angle there.
It's such a valuable skill for those who can do it, but it's a very, very difficult thing to do.
No doubt about it. Boland, nice job on the floor, taking it away, but it's played right back. And a long pass for Megan Smith. Smith is 1-on-4, however, and Sophie King with her speed overtakes her. But Vivian Spalding is there. Spalding, King, another good challenge. And Inakawa is able to save it from being a corner. And Inakawa will just take the throw in instead.
Seems like every SMU game we call, King surprises us by chasing someone down for a play like that. Eventually, we're going to learn that she's just pretty fast.
Faster than me, I promise you that.
Oh, don't sell yourself short. But you're right, she is.
That quick right foot. And then Inakawa able to hold it. So here's Spalding trying to serve it, and this is off of King. And a chance at a corner for Cincinnati. This is their second corner of the afternoon. They scored on the first as Lauren Bastian, also out of the right corner, was able to get it off the head of Emma Schmelzer. Instead of Bastian, though, to take this restart, they will have Mackenzie Tucker doing it.
And unlike the first one, Mustangs have a defender locked on both posts. And my guess is will not move much at all other than a couple of feet out in front of either post until this ball is cleared, if they can do it.
Tucker, dangerous. Peterson.
And there was Tori Peterson, who was on the left post.
It's still alive, though. And Spalding is just wide with her header.
Tori Peterson, right place, right time, fulfilled her assignment perfectly. She started the play anchored on that left post, took a couple steps out, and the ball came right to her, and she's not the tallest player in the world, but she was there, got a head on it, and cleared it out of danger for the Mustangs. Nice play by Tori Peterson.
Keeps SMU in this match. A 2-goal deficit at this point with under 20 minutes to play would have been really rough, as Cincinnati and Virginia Goins had a good opportunity to clear a 2-goal advantage with under 20 to play. Kendall Battle takes it away from Sammy Nieves. Tries to start a rush. Nieves called for the push and a foul. You see that Battle comes up clapping enthusiastically after the takedown.
Battle clearly glad to get the whistle there because she and Nieves were really entangled for probably about 20 or 30 yards. Obviously, they both wanted the whistle. Bearcats got it.
Lauren Bastian with her 3rd assist of the season earlier in this match. Restart. Bastian serves it toward the 6. Another ball in the air, not cleanly played. And SMU looking for some kind of whistle.
And got it.
And they get it. The goal disallowed as Maddie Swingle put it in, but it's not going to count.
She put it in, and I think it was also Swingle who made contact with.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was
the contact on Sutherland. Meanwhile, as Sabasco tries to serve it in on the counterattack, it's too strong for Kyle Lee.
It was Spalding who collided with Tatum Sutherland. You see the big crowd drifting in toward the goal, and there's Sutherland not only collides but gets an elbow up. Sometimes in these cases, if there's any contact, the whistle's just going to favor the goalkeeper because that's the way officials treat it. In that case, it was deserved. Spalding did get an elbow up. She wasn't trying to hurt anybody. She was just trying to get up, get to the ball, and to keep her balance, you put your arms up. But she got right into the rib cage of Tatum Sutherland and drew a well-earned whistle.
Sabasco to Kyle Lee. Lee at the top of the 18. Clears some space, but can't get it back to her teammate. A foul on Winnie Bellotta. She tried to post up and keep Brandy Thompson from the ball.
Right. At first glance, it looked like she got run over and then was called for it. But I think you're right. She got planted in front of her opponent and just hit the brakes trying to create some space to get that ball back to Sapos. But again, if you're going to commit an infraction like that, don't do it when the official's 10 feet away from you.
2-1 Cincinnati as the Bearcats try to get back to their winning ways. Sutherland wins the race ahead of Vanessa DiNardo. Bearcats were in a good situation before that loss at UCF. They drilled Temple 3-1. They had tied with Tulsa on the road 1-1. Oh, good tic-tac-toe, and here comes Khan. Khan with a player on her back, sends it wide. Eliana Salama through defenders, keeps it alive. Bellotta in the area. Sabasco able to hold it for SMU, looking for that tying goal. Sabasco dancing over it. Too strong for Salama. And Sabasco not able to win the corner.
Sabasco, and you can hear the SMU fans disagree. Sabasco clearly thought she had played it off of Schmelzer's foot out of bounds. And in this case, the officials are right. Sabasco plays the ball, but by the time it hits Schmelzer, that foot is already out of bounds.
Kind of 50-50 call that could make a difference. SMU's gotten some calls in this one. Cincinnati has as well. Hopefully it's not a call down the stretch that makes any difference between these two teams as you look for a cleanly played final 15.5 minutes in Dallas, and SMU hunting that tying goal in this exchange between themselves and Cincinnati.
You know, made the comment earlier that I hope Neil Stafford had written down his pregame speech because the Bearcats played so well in the first half. I hope Nicole Nelson wrote down whatever she said at halftime as well, because this is a recharged, re-energized team that the Mustangs have put out here. Doesn't resemble what we saw in the first half.
A slow start for SMU today, but since going down 2-0, certainly they've dominated play. But being down 2-0, never what you want, and it may just be too much of a hole for SMU. Still, there are 14.5 minutes left, and this Mustang crew will not say die. Sutherland just has to drill it to keep it away from Vanessa DiNardo.
And that's the third or fourth time in this half when Sutherland's quickness has been absolutely critical. That's a play that obviously will never show up in a box score, but if she's not quick enough to get out to that ball, she's staring down at a one-on-one with no defensive help within miles to come help.
Winnie Bellata's feed for Alina Khan. Khan was not able to hold it. And Tatum Sutherland able to keep it, that 1-goal match here in Dallas. Sutherland getting her 3rd straight start for Sam Estrada, who has missed the last 2 due to injury. Rexford. And a good play by Sabasco to lead it toward Khan. Barron punts it into the air. And Cincinnati draining some valuable time, not packing it away by any stretch as Peterson goes tumbling. And the call is going to go against Cincinnati on Mackenzie Tucker.
Tori Penzo waited just a half a second to see if she could allow SMU to play the advantage, but Peterson taken down, and in doing so played the ball with a little bit of spin that curled into the touchline. So good delayed call by Penzo, setting up a free kick for Courtney Sabasco. And by the way, you mentioned in the first half, Sabasco has been under the weather all week. Hasn't missed a minute yet.
She's a gamer, there's no doubt. Doesn't want to miss a second of action. To the 6, Tori Peterson was there. It's still in the air. Nice job by Dorian to keep it alive. And Bellata ends up on the deck. And it was actually Bellata who was in there rather than Peterson, who tried to head it first. But a good opportunity once more for SMU.
See the long serve over the head of Bellata, and she loses it for a second, but Dorian knocks it back. And then Bellata takes a little bit of a hip check from Maddie Thiss, but not enough to draw a whistle.
Sabasco's hip check. It's going to be Cincinnati's ball anyway. Under 12 to play. Abby Dermott is ready to check back into the match for SMU. She gives her warm up to Kaya Lee.
And with Kaya Lee coming out, that here's their first change. They're putting Winnie Bellata up front as well. So you've got Bellata up front with Alina Khan.
Salama as well, most likely.
And Salama will spend a lot of time up there as well, but you're getting a very accomplished technical player like Bellata, putting her up in the front end to try to ask her to do nothing but create offensive chances.
Tucker goes across the mouth of the goal, but there was nobody home. King catches up with it. But Cincinnati takes it right back. Here's Spalding, just outside the 18. Spalding deflected, and Sabasco tips it into space.
Nice job by Dorian to break that up.
And Dorian stepping over the ball as she crosses midfield, and no foul here as Kendall Battle was able to take it in after a heavy touch by Dermott.
It was a heavy touch, and the first contact was on the ball, so even though Dermott went down hard, it was a good non-call by Penzo.
Bellata wins it in the air, trying to feed it to Sabasco. A little too strong. 10.5 to play. Winnie Bellata had the goal to cut it in half. She wins it here. Out to Salama. Eliana Salama stepping over toward the end line. Salama, no, corner kick. A passionate plea, but Salama can't believe that it didn't go off of Kendall Battle.
Yeah, she pleaded her case, but I think it was a lost cause. She didn't get the whistle, but she looked very convinced that she had the right to the possession on that for a corner. But the folks in yellow didn't agree, so she lost.
10 minutes between Anna Rexford and the Cincinnati Bearcats getting back into the win column, leading 2-1 on the road over SMU. SMU's been great at home this season. Cincinnati has struggled on the road. The script is getting flipped. Coming into the match, Steve, we said for SMU it just felt like a must-win match, and it was a slow start. And while SMU has certainly recovered in their effort, 10 minutes left, almost 9 minutes left in this one. Time is running short.
Agreed. I mean, if you look at the second half and maybe the last 15 minutes of the first half, you're thrilled if you're SMU with the way your team played. Basically, since the Bellata penalty kick forward, unfortunately, the full 90 minutes counts, and Cincinnati had the upper hand at the start for sure. But the Mustangs, we talked about it being sort of a gut check game for both teams, and there is Sophie King again.
Yeah, to play it off of Spalding. And results in a goal kick.
That is an absolutely unappreciated weapon that they have over there on the left side. Her ability to slide tackle and toe poke the ball away, and in that case, play it off of an opponent to get a goal kick for her team. Sophie King, that's a very unappreciated art form.
8.5 left in this scoreless second half as Cincinnati led 2-1 at the break. Julissa Cisneros, by the way, coming back in at an attacking spot for SMU. Cincinnati tries to protect the 2-1 lead. Long ball for Cisneros, too strong. Watched over the end line.
Cisneros is rested after a few moments on the bench, but that was a little too far out of reach even for her. As we creep inside of 8 minutes, obviously Rexford is going to take her time teeing this up. It's far too early for the Bearcats to play any kind of stall ball, but there's no reason to hurry it back into play and maybe have a missed restart.
The Mustangs find the tying goal. Throw in for SMU. Dermott, quick restart. Here's Sabasco chipping it down Cisneros' way. Dermott trying to put pressure on.
Nice job by Dermott.
To Cisneros, back to Dermott, trying to keep it off the line. Can't do so.
Really good hustle play by Abby Dermott. Just ran out of real estate at the front end there. And now Sammy Nieves comes back, so it's pretty much all hands on deck pushing forward for the Ponies at this point.
Anna Rexford has not had the kind of oomph on her free kicks that Sutherland has. SMU's won a lot of these 50-50 balls in the second half, including this one as Bellata chips it out into space to Sophie King. King trying to drive it towards Cisneros. Results in a throw-in. King does the honors. Under about 6.5 minutes to play.
Smart decision by Ikanawa to pull the ball back and let the Ponies regroup after switching fields to the near side.
Peterson serves it, and well too strong over the head of Nieves. Peterson has a lot of power. Showed it off there as Cincinnati, 6 minutes to go, brings Brandy Thompson, 5'10" graduate midfielder, back into the match. Under 6 to play, replacing Sarah Kate Rath after a fairly quick rest for Thompson here in the second half.
We talked a moment ago about how it's far too early for the Bearcats to play stall ball, so you're not going to see them racing to the corner flags just yet. But it wouldn't be a surprise for the next 5.5 minutes to see players shuttling in and out of the lineup, because that substitution that the Bearcats just made took about 25 seconds off the clock.
Peterson, a clean sweep away from Bastion. SMU has to make every possession count with 5:20 left in a 1-goal hole. Too far for Sabasco. But Peterson will have another chance. The Mustangs look for a tying goal that would break a 3. Well, it would get them to even. They have not won a game in their last 3. There has been a tie in there.
Julissa Cisneros intentionally stepping over the ball, trying to play a little dummy move, thinking that Winnie Bellata was behind her, and she was, but I think Bellata thought that Cisneros was going to swallow that up because Bellata never moved.
SMU changing their shape a little bit, playing Sophie King up as a midfielder. Here's Peterson through the middle. No handball on Maddie Swingle. Clean takeaway for the Bearcats. It's Vivian Spalding. Looks for the attack, but Dermott steals it away, at least for the time being. 4:20 left in Dallas. Cincinnati coming after only their second win all-time in Dallas. Peterson trying to let it go over the end line. It barely does.
It almost ran out of gas, and in doing so, first of all, burned a few more seconds. But if that ball had come to a complete stop, she had Lauren Bastian on her back. And now Ikinawa comes out. So basically every proven scorer SMU has is on the field for the last 4 minutes. You got Cisneros, Bellotta, Boland, Sammy Nieves. They have flipped, by the way. Nieves on the left side, Cisneros on the right, which gives the Bearcats a different look to deal with.
Sapos is back there playing D now, basically. Only at midfield. Dermott on the wing. Under 3.5 to play. Dermott. Tripped up. Oh my goodness, it's going to be a PK for Cincinnati. Unthinkable.
Battle cannot believe it, but this is absolutely the right call. Abby Dermott had 2 defenders in front of her, and then she steps over the ball, plays it with her heel. Battle comes up, takes her right foot out from under her. Unfortunate for Battle because she's just hustling, trying to get to the ball. Fantastic play by Abby Dermott.
What a moment. And SMU has a chance to steal a point away from this match, and they'll give the ball to Jewel Boland. No, it's Courtney Sabasco, who is playing through illness 1v1 against Anna Rexford to try to tie the match. 3:20 to go. Sabasco, 3 for 4 in her career on PKs. 1 for 1 this season. Sabasco just squeaks it in. The tying goal past the outstretched Anna Rexford. And Courtney Sabasco levels it with 3:20 to play.
On the scoreboard, this game is even, but look at the body language of the two teams. The SMU players are jumping out of their shoes celebrating. The Bearcats look absolutely shell-shocked, and quite honestly, I don't blame them. In the first half, they were the far superior team. They probably felt they could finish this one off and get away with a big road win. 3 minutes is still a long time. This isn't over by any stretch.
And a drive that goes wide by Emma Schmelzer as Cincinnati reattacks. But for now, Steve, theft for SMU.
Right, and they have responded. They faced a lot of adversity in the first half. They've responded well. There was a gut check moment. And now we've got Battle and Nieves jawing with each other, leading to a stoppage by Tori Penzo, the referee.
Courtney Sabasco, by the way, as you get a look here. And Penzo trying to keep it light between the two competitors.
Sammy Nieves with a big smile on her face and a chuckle. We couldn't see what Battle was saying.
The drive by Sutherland as SMU looks maybe for one more goal. We'll have to see. The Battle wins this one away. Sabasco, the evening goal. She hadn't scored in the last 9 matches before that penalty kick offering, with 3:20 left in regulation to make it 2-2 after Cincinnati had built a 2-0 advantage back in the first half. And 3 of the 4 goals in this one have been PKs. What an odd game.
I cannot remember a game like that with 3 out of 4 goals being on PKs. And it'd be interesting to see what Sabasco was thinking on that. You sometimes hear basketball players talk about a free throw in the final minutes where it looks like the rim is as big as a nickel. There was obviously space on either side of the goalkeeper. But if you've been playing after being sick all week.
Jewel Boland will get a yellow for standing over the ball here. Her first. Minute 55 left and the clock becomes frozen in a 2-2 match. By the way, remember, this is the first year there is no overtime if we end tied in regulation in college soccer. So we'll be done in 1:54.
If I'm Nicole Nelson, I don't hate that yellow card. You don't want to see your players pick up yellows, obviously, except it's a tie game and she stopped the clock with 1:55. Cincinnati is, as many teams would do, patiently setting up the right choice where to go, and doing so with the clock stopped only helps because the momentum is all on SMU's side right now.
Secondary chance, DiNardo, but Sapos is there to find Jewel Boland. A very offensive, heavy lineup for SMU still with 1:40 to play as Boland is left in the wake of Emma Schmelzer. Peterson is held, and you could almost let it play on there to see if that Peterson serve did anything, but they'll go ahead and say, yeah, just a foul on
Tatum
Schmelzer.
Sutherland is dying to get the extra ball in from the ball kids because that kick after the whistle all the way downfield just took another 15 or 20 seconds off the clock.
Sutherland has a chance to restart it with about 70 seconds left. Last gasp for SMU to try to steal a couple more points in this one after already tying it up. Peterson ahead. Jewel Boland gets it to Bellotta. Bellotta knocked down, trying to stay with it, but Cincinnati able to steal it away. Thompson up the field. Cincinnati just trying to keep it away from SMU as Bellotta runs it over to King. King running through the middle, 35 seconds. Boland not able to find this one. 30 seconds left as Dorian heads it up, but Schmelzer takes it away. The Bearcats try to survive. King, another great defensive play. 20 seconds left.
Sophie King has been terrific today.
And she's been all over the place. And SMU takes it away. Long feed, too strong for Boland. Gobbled up by Rexford. That should do it. Rexford punts it with 5 seconds left. And DiNardo doesn't have time. It's a tie, but it feels like a win for the SMU Mustangs, who keep their chances at making the AAC tournament.